Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's section of reads. This should be on the YouTube channel James 13 Wicca in case you're seeing it somewhere else. The dice and decks I'm using are listed below. Other than that, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Let's get into your choice. Hello, Taurus. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. The readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Taurus? A little bit of fire and a little bit of earth. A lot of bit of earth. A little bit more fire. Okay. A lot of earth and fire going on here. There's 2 cards fell out while I was shuffling face down. Holding on for that. Actually, I think whatever this is good. But like I keep getting like a holding back energy. You don't have to go forward with anything you don't want to. And my first thought is like just because a lot of people you care about seem to think it's a good thing, it doesn't mean it's good for you. It may be good for other people and not good for you. Remembering your strength and where you stand is a good idea. There seems to be some question of the past. Remember to see the differences. You'll see the similarities, but remember to see the differences too. Okay. Something with the past, something with holding your ground, and maybe somebody saying you held your ground so far that it doubled back against you. And you know, that's the thing. Taurus is very resilient. And sometimes you hold your ground. We all have this moment, I feel. I feel like, well, I'm not an earth sign, but earth energies do this where sometimes they hold their ground and it works out great. Sometimes you hold the ground, you hold it too long and it doesn't. It's kind of like the rub. Earth, and Taurus's earth, is very dependable and they will stay where they want to stay. And they're very good at holding position. The thing is to understand when that's working for you and when it's working against you. But either way, Earth doesn't usually make quick decisions. They take their time. They think it out. Does this make sense? Does this not make sense? And I keep getting that there's some push towards the past, like, remember when you held on too long? Remember when you held on too long? I don't think we're having that problem, but I also feel like other people may be kind of influencing you, like, oh, you're doing it again, Taurus. You're holding on too long. Let's remember to see the differences to when that happened before. We all have this. I feel like this is a normal thing. I'm not a Taurus, but I do seem to get along with that energy very well. I can look back where I've held on too long. I can look back and see that. But it depends on the circumstances you're connected with. And the question is, right now, are you holding on too long or not? Other people seem to be pushing and feeling like, this needs to go this way, Taurus. We need to do this differently. And they seem to be talking in your direction. They're talking in a way that makes sense, that goes along with what you normally feel. The thing is, I feel like we got to look a little closer. We got to look a little closer. You don't have to do anything, obviously. It would be helpful to look a little closer. And there might be some benefit to getting some emotional distance from whoever's trying to influence you just for a little while so you can reset the situation, reset the stage in a way that makes sense to you on your terms. Because somebody, I feel like, is talking to you, and I do feel like they're talking in a way that makes sense, but it's not really going to match up with what you need, even though it makes sense, because this part's going to be difficult. I feel like this part's going to be difficult because I feel like they want you to do something different, and they're saying it in a way that makes sense, yet may not feel like that's what you really want to do. It's kind of like, analytically it makes sense, but emotionally it's not in the same place. Am I making sense? It's like your heart's not in it, but your head's going, yeah, I guess we should do that. But your heart's not in it. I feel like that's what we're dealing with right here. And it's kind of like Do you trust your own intuition? Do you trust your heart on this one? Taurus, in my opinion, tends to be very analytical and like, does this make sense? I will do this if this makes sense. And there's the need to kind of make a couple slow changes to see if it holds water. I don't feel bad about that. But the thing is, those slow changes need to be on your terms for what you're looking for. This is ironic because the energy is kind of saying you might be over-influenced right now. I just want to... Am I getting that right? Because it's not like a bad thing. It's just saying... And I'm not, it doesn't mean anybody has bad intentions. It doesn't mean that either. But what they think and what you need may not be the same thing. It doesn't have to mean anybody's bad, by the way. Yeah, the Magician reversed and the Page of Cups not coming in correctly. This might be a situation where you don't feel like you have the background or the knowledge to really have the full opinion that you need. It might be something like that. Like there's something like, I don't have everything I need for this, but I guess I kind of have to move forward. It may feel like that. I don't have all the supplies I need, but I have to move. I can't just sit here. And it may feel like that. Because I keep seeing you in a position where you're like, I don't really have everything I need to make this the correct decision. It may be the right decision, but I don't have everything in line to know this for sure, and it doesn't feel right to me. But I keep getting this push like, yeah, I kind of need to make a decision, but how do you line this up to where it works for you? There is good, like, there's good intention around you, and I'm not saying it's not there, because good intention is fine, but again, how they're viewing it and what you need, I just don't feel like that's linking up correctly. All right, the two face down cards. Ace of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. You have to be in control of this. And it has to be on your terms. The Ace of Pentacles is not here. Why am I saying Ace of Pentacles? Is it here? Did I see? No. The Ace of Wands is there. But the two of these together, it's kind of like the Ace of Wands and then the Knight of Pentacles. That energy merging together is a little interesting because it's like having a lot of control over a lot of power. And it's hard to do. These two together is kind of like, if we already know the destination, if we already know what we're going to do, this can work. This can go well. But if it's going into a new territory, a new energy that I'm not familiar with, that could be a problem. How do we get this in Taurus's control? Because you have to be the one, you have to feel confident about what you're adding into, or this isn't going to go well. Or at the very least, it has to go in a direction, at the very least, where you can learn and adjust and go like, all right, we're going this direction, but what I'm learning, I want to adjust a little differently. So it's almost like we're going in this direction, but you have the ability to go up, down, left, right, over this way, over that way. It's like you get to change. Like once we're in one, I don't know, is that making sense? Like if we're going west, you can edit it, which direction west, southwest, northwest, up in a mountain, down in a valley, you know, stuff like that. People aren't gonna like it, but I get that it's like, I feel like I have to step back and do what I know is right, what I'm confident with, and I might have to like hold on to something even though other people don't like it. You don't have to do anything. It may be better for you to do that. You're going to end up in this position, the King of Wands, and it's backed up with this. Like there's a lot of power, a lot of things going forward. Once you get into it, a lot is going to be happening. I keep getting this influence of people around you trying to get you to do this their way, or do this, like I keep getting like this push, like you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way. You don't have to. You don't. And it's kind of like, maybe it's better to go back to the way you're used to, because you can do wonderful things that way. I do feel like you're going to be willing to adjust because you have to. There's going to be no way around it, but it's kind of like, it's the energy around you that's putting too much pressure and putting too much influence in this. I feel like that's where we're trying to go with this, because it does seem to me like this is getting a little confusing. I feel like the overall energy is kind of like, maybe you're over influenced by other people at this point. And it does seem like it's getting confusing, and it's getting to be a lot, and there's choices you need to make, but it's kind of like, I feel like I need more than one person influencing, and I need to have like the step back. It's like, I want to know what other people have done, but it's almost like I want to watch a video, I want to read a book, I want to, understand how other people have played this out and the results they had. Maybe I don't have a lot of time to go into too many examples of this, but it's almost like, what examples are important to you? What examples are valid in your opinion? It's kind of like, we got these 5 videos I could watch, and we got these 10 books I could read, or whatever they are. But which ones match up closer to your situation? Like, if you're dealing with like industrial things, and over half of these are about managing human resources, you're like, well, I need to manage other things other than human resources are a part of this, but I'm more looking to manage the tangible resources I have to deal with. So half of these aren't really linking up. And maybe a lot of these influences are coming from places like that, people who have done that. They have valid resources, valid information, but it maybe isn't linking up to what you're doing quite well enough. There's, yes, I know there's a sense of loyalty here, and you do want to be connected, and you want to look at that in a loyal way, and I get that, and then we want to maybe talk to it where we need to, but they're saying, even though people aren't going to like it, it may be better for you and the situation overall to kind of slow this thing down, so you can get a moment so you could put this together in a way that makes better sense to you. This has to make sense to you. If this doesn't make sense to you, you're not going to be very effective with getting it to go where you need it to go. Because if you're not able to make sense of the mechanics a little bit better, the outcome isn't going to be stable. The outcome isn't going to be comfortable to you. It may be a moment where it's kind of like, people aren't going to like it, and I feel like I'm going to get a lot of backlash for it, but I need to kind of slow it down and hold it back so I can reevaluate and decide what I think is the right direction, and get the valid connections and understand, this is why I made this decision. I think that's what's going on here, because it's making more sense as we get farther down the road, that whatever you're dealing with is going too fast, and people are maybe influencing that in the sense of well, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You can't slow down. You can't take a minute. You can't. If you do that, bad things. No, Taurus, bad things. We got to keep moving. It's been going fast. It has to keep going fast. Well, maybe we can't bring it to a complete stop, but we can slow it down. Even though that's the 8 of Swords, I do feel like it's saying there's some of this has to keep going at its pace, but you can slow it down to a minimum. You can slow it down to your realistic minimum, so you can research and you can look into things and make different decisions, make more educated decisions, because you need to understand why you're making the decision you're making. There's a lot of rush, there's a lot of push, and it's almost like I keep getting this example of working in an ER, which really is scary, because it's kind of oh, this is life-threatening. We have to keep moving. We have to keep going. Yes, on these, if there's 20 cases, on these 3 cases, those are life-threatening. Yes, we have to keep going. Yes, I give you that. These other 10 cases, they could be. So let's keep going at a faster pace, but not too fast that we're making reckless decisions. These other 7 cases, we don't have to do that. And since we don't have to do that, we're not going to do that. We're going to slow down a lot more on those because they're not life-threatening. The ones that are life-threatening, yes, we're going to keep going fast with those because we need to. The 7 that could become that way, if I said that number right, or however many it was, yes, we'll keep them at a faster pace, but not at a breakneck speed because we don't need to, but we will keep them on the urgent, on the more, keep it moving. And it's kind of people aren't going to like the, no, Taurus, we got to keep everything has to keep going fast, everything. No, it doesn't. And it's you stepping back and taking that control, going, wait a minute, we don't have to do it this way. And with the cases that we can allow it to go a lot slower, we need to learn and research there, and then we can take that information we learn there and bring it forward to these other things. Okay, there's a lot with that. people will understand if they're honest with the situation. The long run, and that's what I feel like Taurus is famous for, that. The long run working out correctly. The long run. The long haul. This is like, retiring in a way that you wanted to retire. It's kind of like maybe getting there was a little rough and rocky at times. The long run is what we're looking for. This isn't making egregious decisions just for the sake of it's all about the end game. It's not all about the end game, so I feel like it may be getting distorted. This is like the long run. To get this road working right, we had to take a couple years and struggle, but then we returned to the journey, and we're continuing our journey in a better way because we had to correct things for a couple years. So if this is a 20-year journey, the long run, in my opinion, is we had to take 2 years out of that to correct things and reevaluate things and make better decisions, so that the following 18 years we're continuing on the path. That part of the journey went much better and much more successfully. So it's not about the end game. It's not like it's not the destination. It's about the travel, and it's correcting things now so the rest of the trip can be better. And people, because I get integrity here. Is that integrity? Yeah. The people who understand, the people who will be honest with the situation, they're not going to like it when it slows down. But when it's all said and done, they're going to be like, you know what? Taurus was right. This makes better sense. We're getting better outcomes. It was rough for a couple of years there, but we had to go through that to make the rest of the journey make better sense. And overall, when we look back, we realize that was a good decision to make because of how the journey went after we corrected things. Okay. If you're at peace with what you need to do, it'll be fine. If you're at peace with it, it'll be fine. It may seem like at times did it even matter? It didn't hurt the situation. And this is something that the longer it goes, the more you can see that was the better decision. It made sense in the long run, the longer it goes. So it's kind of like, I keep getting this 2 years of struggle. The first month or two, does it even matter? The first year, maybe oh, I don't even know if that made a sense. The first 2 years, maybe it made sense. It's after that. You know what? That clearly was a good idea. And the longer it goes, the more it makes sense. It's like saving up pennies. If you're saving up, 20 pennies every day, the first week, what is that? $1.40? So the first week it's $1.40, but 20 years later, if you kept doing that, it amounted to something. Probably, maybe if I said $10 a day. If it was $10 a day, maybe most people would be like, that doesn't matter enough. Even if it was $1 a day, but you know what I mean. I think I don't need to beat that to death. I could, but I don't need to. You'll be fine with it. I feel like you're going to realize in the long run that this was the right idea, and other people will catch up too. The people that matter. Make sure you pay attention to who actually catches on, because integrity will bring forward the truth. Some people they're not going to want to agree, and they're just going to be stubborn with it. They're going to do what they're going to do. I feel like we're fine. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.